so now we're getting into module 2C, and I'm going to share my screen. And so this module, as you can see here, it illuminated that we are on the calming one. So we just went through the negative experiences a person has had. We've helped them identify specific ones that have really stuck with them. And now we're going to do a little bit of theory, which later you can close this off and get right to the exercises. But so the theory here is to start introducing them to these things that they can practice to calm down when they get triggered. So number one is when your breathing gets restricted, guess what? Like your lungs will obey you. When your heart starts beating fast, it's hard. It's not going to be a direct thing where you say, hey, heart, slow down, and it obeys you. But our lungs will. They are under conscious control. They also operate without conscious control, but we can say, hey, slow down or take deep breaths. I encourage people to take really long exhales for 15 seconds using the stomach muscles. I think it has to do with laughter being the best medicine, that when we engage those stomach muscles and push and empty out and then get a nice deep breath back in, I think there's a reset that happens that is incompatible with being in a fight, flight, or freeze response. So you want to train yourself or train that person to notice how badly they're breathing, how much they've been holding their breath, raise consciousness to it, and then do something to get deeper breathing happening. Number two is breaking out of the tunnel vision. Now, again, a lot of people don't get this one. They don't get the literal darkening of the sides, but we become obsessed. I notice it with road rage. So this is both for fight and flight. And in road rage, I can't stop focusing on that one, expletive on the road. With anxiety, I don't want to look. With anger, I look too much. And the answer to both is to look around more, to get out of the tunnel, look around, start naming the objects in your environment. So for me specifically, it's going to be a water glass, a calendar, a pen, some cables, a laptop, a big screen, a mug, a coaster, a mouse, a lamp, some books, a printer. And then what I usually notice is I have people look behind them and they turn and swivel over their shoulders, and I usually see a deep breath, like, okay, I see a picture, a chair, a table, a light switch, electric socket. I see a door, a doorknob, and I see a guitar, a couch. And what that conveys is that the mind is realizing you're listing a bunch of really boring, mundane things. And so it sneaks that breath in because it's starting to realize that you're not in danger. You are taking the dog by the leash and saying, come on, look around, sniff, look at this environment, notice how little danger there actually is. So that's what that one's about. And I've had good feedback from people on that one. I always tell people, do not ignore your thirst. Drink cold water in the car with that road rage starting to happen. Don't ignore that you're getting hot under the collar, and use the air conditioning. If you have it, you should blast it. Don't ignore your temperature. And before I use the background of those gauges, all these are this idea that it would be nice if we had gauges to help notice when we're overheating and taking action when we're almost out of gas and reacting. So the next one is address tense muscles. And there are great exercises you can do. Human beings, we carry our stress in our jaws. We tend to clench, and in our neck and in our shoulders, and I would say in our eyes too. So it's a good habit to rub our eyes. And if you have any kind of neck or spinal condition, you should check with a doctor. But if you're clear on that, then a great exercise to do is to sit up straight and then feel the full weight of your head. And I always tell people, the head weighs about 10 pounds. And I tell people, we don't need another dumbbell. You don't need to go to the gym. You got one built in right there. And you can just feel the weight of it and keep breathing and drop the shoulders. And I'm going to do a quick version of this where at first I'm just going to bounce a little from the hips. I'm going to keep breathing, but I'm going to also turn and do chin to ceiling and feel the full weight of my head rolling down my spine. I'm going to drop the shoulders, make sure they didn't creep up. And I'm going to be doing things with my jaw. I'm going to wiggle my jaw, and I'm going to open my eyebrows. I'm going to raise them as if I'm like really surprised. So I'm going to try to lift those a little bit while I'm doing these exercises, and I'm going to end with a 360 that I'll do much slower than I'm doing now, where I will go all the way around and I'll add extra bounce wherever it's really painful. So getting used to doing that, I try to do it at red lights when I'm driving, just ways to just, because what it is your body, these muscles, and your emotions are all things that are calling out to you, trying to get your attention. And so it's a good idea to stop and give it the attention. If your leg is shaking, I challenge people to shake it even faster. There's something about we're trying to control that shake and we're not able to, but sometimes going in the other direction of giving yourself permission and then accelerating it can sometimes, after 60 seconds of that, sometimes that adrenaline got used up, or for some reason, when I've tried it with people, they stop shaking for the rest of our time together. All right, now when your thoughts are racing, so those first address all the physicals. Thoughts are more about noticing what we're telling ourselves. And I don't control what comes into my head. A lot of people get mad. They're like, why did I think of that? What's wrong with me? Thoughts are like American baseball, where you're the batter. You don't get to control what the pitcher is doing. What you get to decide is whether you're going to swing or not. And so we need to learn to notice and say, okay, let's just let that one go by. Like, whatever, it's just brain garbage. Like, a lot of brain garbage is floating by all day, and we don't have to get involved in it. We can practice noticing it and watching it go by and not getting involved. If you've had any kind of mindfulness training, that's where this is kind of coming from, is that ability to notice, let it go by. And then to use phrases to realize, okay, this puppy inside me often confuses, because of that physical reactivity, it confuses threat and danger with discomfort. And we have to stop and use our words to say, yes, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not in danger. Yes, I was just having a nightmare. Yes, my heart is pounding, but I'm looking around. I'm not in actual danger. Yes, I overreacted to that thing. Let me take my deep breaths. I'm not in danger. Yes, I was scared. Now, notice I'm doing this very compassionately. I'm not beating up that part of my brain that got scared. I'm being very gentle. I'm saying, whoa, that was scary. But let's look around. Are we in danger? No. So let's try to calm things down. So that's what that page of techniques is about. And as I was doing it, I would, be coaching the person to be doing them. So in those, I did the environment scan. I'm going to go ahead and drink some water now so I can check that one off. I did a little bit of the stretching, and I've been using the phrase, yes, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not in danger. And I think I demonstrated this, and I just took a deep breath right there. So now we're going to measure, following those exercises, is the person still feeling any of these? Are you still feeling tearful? Now I'm going to guess that they're going to say a little less. Is the breathing a little better? The heart has slowed down. I just had a good drink of water. My jaw is definitely looser. Yeah, my muscles, that little exercise did something for me. I'm not shaking. Maybe I'm still a little lightheaded. The adrenaline might still be moving, but not as much as before. I'm still feeling a little warm. I don't feel like I'm in a tunnel, but let's say the person is still thinking about all those things from that list. And the thoughts are racing. Yeah, but not as much. And here I've included your total discomfort score from before and what you just scored now. And so that's a decrease. And I encourage the person to now kind of discuss that a little. Like, wow, I've never heard about these exercises, or these are helpful, or sorry, people, this isn't helping me at all. My numbers are just as high. I mean, whatever the actual experience is, I think truth is the most important here. Then a little recap on the problem with running from false alarms. And the idea is that every time you run from a false alarm, if your brain doesn't acknowledge that it was a false alarm, it does a little victory dance. And all it knows is, he was really uncomfortable over here, but I got him to run over here, and now he's breathing again. And so the association is maintained that says there was something dangerous about that place. And maybe that place is your bed because you were dreaming and now you're afraid of your mattress. Like, it gets really wonky. And so we need to learn to stay put in situations and call out that this is a false alarm. I'm safe. This is fine. And I've used these techniques also with things like if someone has a bridge phobia, like in San Francisco, you can drive right to the Golden Gate Bridge and there's a little place to park. And if someone's afraid of this, you would start with photos first and they get all out of breath and you recover from that with a photo. Then you drive close to it and you have the view and you wait and you recover. Then you go park in that parking lot. You sit and you wait it out and wait till you're breathing again. Not with distractions. You don't blast the radio. You don't read a book. You have to stay in the experience, almost feeding the anxiety, saying, okay, I'm probably going to die now. Okay, I'm probably going to die now. And with the idea that that's going to wear out. And you got to give it the chance to wear out and distinguish, okay, I guess I was wrong. And if you repeat it a few times, that's how we come to be comfortable, whether it's that or whether you just started a new jogging routine. If you start a new jogging routine and after 2 minutes, you go back home and say, I quit, every time you try to restart, it's going to be starting over. Whereas if you put up with the discomfort, that's when you get conditioned. You literally get acclimated. Your heart will no longer beat as badly as the days and weeks go by of doing these exercises. All right, so that is wrapping up module 2. It introduces the next module to say, now that we've learned these techniques, they're going to be helpful when we start getting a little more closer to these memories. But before we go there, we always invite the person to reflect. What was that like for you? Did you learn anything? Talk about any skepticism you felt, or just, start processing the experience. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and click to proceed to module 3.